right, that motion passes 7-0. All right, next item on the agenda, consent agenda. We have item number 6A, approval of the January 7th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, approval of the January 13th, 2025 City Council special meeting minutes. Item number 6C, the junction, the southwest corner of 31st Street and Highway 85, entryway sign and landscape project update. And item number 6D, consideration of resolution number 01-2025 regarding the amending the 2025 fee schedule. And I would entertain a motion on that. All right, we have a motion, a second, to approve the consent agenda, and we'll go ahead and vote. All right, that motion passes 7-0. All right, next items on the agenda. New business. Item number 7A, consideration of city attorney employment agreement. And
Yes, Mayor and Council, this item is coming to you tonight. If you recall back, following Scott Krob's resignation as city attorney, the city council on January 7th did appoint Drew Lyman as the interim city attorney. Since that time, Drew and the mayor have met and reviewed have had contract discussions based on, with the idea of Drew becoming the permanent city attorney. We do have a contract for your consideration tonight. A few of the highlights for this particular business item. Number one, the agreement pursuant to section 4.9 of the Evans City Charter is indefinite. The city shall pay the employee a base salary of $198,500 per year. Employees shall accrue vacation at a rate of 14 hours per month with a maximum of 336 hours as provided in the adopted employee policies. And lastly, employer shall provide employee a 4-month severance if terminated without cause. Mr. Mayor, those are the highlights. I'll turn it over to council for consideration.
Great, thank you, Cody, appreciate it. And I just want to say to council, thank you all for your feedback and everything that you provided me to go into these contract negotiations with Drew. If you go through the contract, as Cody pointed out, some of the highlights out of it, there's also some additional information in there that will provide them a yearly review, just like we do for the city manager. That will happen in November timeframe, just like him. There's also some stipulations in there regarding severances, stuff like that. If the contract is terminated without cause, then he would be owed 4 months of severance. For cause, there would be no reasons. And there's several items in there that list for what cause is and everything. And it also gives the city council also an alternative way as well. If we feel that he's not meeting our expectations, that we let him know and we provide him that feedback to correct those as well. And it also provides him for an initial review after 6 months of being our city attorney. So anybody doesn't have any questions or comments, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Hey, I want to request something. It didn't let me do it.
Are you trying to speak?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, there's a little.
And even Fred.
Okay. Well, did you use the little?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's weird. All right, I'll go ahead, Councilmember Johnson, since it's not working for you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to, it's just a comment, state that this is something to celebrate, very big for the city, that we actually have our own in-house city attorney. So congratulations.
Councilmember Neal?
Yes, this was originally set up by the council to try to get an attorney trained to be an in-house attorney. And I think this has been very successful, thankfully, for this council, that we can go ahead and approve this promotion.
Absolutely. All right, great, thank you. All right, I do see a motion and a second to approve the city attorney employment agreement between the city of Evans and Drew Lyman, and we'll go ahead and vote on that. All right, and that motion passes unanimously. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7B, consideration of ordinance number 837-25, implementing electoral approval of ballot issue 2B first reading, and we'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just a couple words of cleanup in our city charter to clarify the specific date that council will be sworn in after their election. By moving the elections to be coordinated with Weld County, the charter previously said that it would be the Tuesday following their election without really considering the time for the certification and the abstract to be completed. So we're basically just changing the charter to state that the new council members will be sworn in at the first regular or special meeting after their election, and that's when the official results come out.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Use your. All right, and we have nobody there. All right, well, if there's no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 83725 on first reading. Go ahead and vote. All right, and that motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7C, consideration of city council discretionary fund grant awards. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor Clark, members of City Council. I'm here tonight to ask your approval in awarding the 2025 City Council Discretionary Grant Awards. As was done in 2024, staff did release an application to the community for local nonprofits to request up to $10,000 in award. Those applications were opened on November 22nd through December 31st. The city received 14 applications. Unfortunately, 13 of them were able to be reviewed for further consideration. One wasn't complete, so if that agency's listening tonight, we encourage them to complete the application in full next year and hope to be able to consider them going forward. Excuse me. On January 13th, we were able to hold a finance committee meeting to review those applications with staff as well. Council members Crabtree and Delaney serving on the finance committee. Each of the applications were reviewed based on the criteria that was established last year, and there was a total of $96,900 of requests. Many of the agencies did request that $10,000 maximum, which is fair. They're able to do so. We did receive more applications this year than last year, so that was great as well. City Council has currently $22,000 to award, $21,000 of that coming from your original 2021 budget. And you also had $1,000 that was unawarded last year. So Finance Committee has requested that I include that in the budget revision this spring, bring that money forward for you to use at a future date if new requests come up or new needs arise during the year. So the recommendation is listed in your packet, as well as all of the applications were included for your review as well. Finance Committee is recommending $20,000 be awarded at this time to the agencies listed there in your motion. So a Women's Place, the recommendation is $4,000 to that agency, $4,000 also to Catholic Charities, $3,000 for Coats and Boots of Kids of Weld County, $3,000 for Lighthouse Community Center and Food Pantry, $3,000 for Scroll and Fan, $2,000 for 60 Plus Ride, and $1,000 for Meals on Wheels of Greeley and Weld County. With that concludes staff comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it, Jackie. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
Got your little. Oh, go ahead, Councilmember Delaney.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to speak on behalf of my side of the Finance Committee. We got a lot of good applicants, and that makes it really tough. But what we definitely did was I think we really tried to focus on who's going to help Evans, and then also spreading the wealth a little bit between multiple agencies, trying to do the most good with what we have. So I strongly encourage a yes vote.
Great, thank you. All right, and I will say that I appreciate all of your hard work on the Finance Committee and going through all these packets and everything. I'm looking forward to adopting this, and thank you again for everything you guys do. All right. All right, no other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the recommended discretionary fund grant request to a Woman's Place Catholic Charities, the coats and boots for kids in Weld County, Lighthouse Community Center and Food Pantry, Scroll and Fan, 60-plus Ride, and Meals on Wheels of Greeley and Weld County. I'll go ahead and vote. All right, and that motion passes 6-1. All right, thank you. Thank you, Jackie, appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7D, consideration of police station contract manager, construction manager, general contractor, CMGC contract. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor Clark and members of council. Brian Stone, Economic Development Director. Joining me this evening is John Usery. He serves as our owner's rep with the Artea Group, and Joni Fournier is also here this evening. So we are here this evening for the consideration of a construction manager and general contract for the Evans Police Station. The Artea Group played a significant role in this process of procuring our general contractor and construction manager for this. Do want to also thank Drew Lyman for his work in going through the contract. If you saw it, it's very lengthy, so do appreciate your time, Drew. So John, like I said, spent a majority of the time procuring this, going through the process, and he's going to kind of outline what this process looks like moving forward and how we went through the procurement process, and then we'll be answering questions at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to John.
Thank you, Brian. Mayor Clark, members of the council, thank you for having us here tonight to consider this really important team player in the City of Evans Police Station project. So I wanted to start out with our procurement timeline. So this process started early October. We released a request for qualifications to all interested candidates October 18th and held a mandatory pre-bid meeting on November 8th, 2024. We received qualifications on November 19th from several firms, all of which was advertised on Rocky Mountain BidNet according to city policies. Of those qualifications, several were shortlisted, invited to provide fee proposals, and show up for interviews, which were held December 13th, 2024. So again, us as Artea groups working with D2C really facilitated the procurement process, looked to structure the documents, the information that was requested, but we did have a selection committee consisting of staff members of the City of Evans that included City Manager Cody Sims, Economic Development Director Brian Stone, Finance Director Jackie Trout, Police Commander Dan Marinas, Police Lieutenant Gabe Reimer. We also want to recognize Chief Brandt's contribution during the process as well. We asked a very significant amount of time from these individuals to sort through hundreds of pages of qualifications, attend interviews, and to make sure we were recommending candidates that best suited the City of Evans specifically for this project. So it's alluded to in the procurement dates, we ran a two-part process. Qualifications, where we asked for information about the firm, key team members, their unique project experience, references, and project approach. Based on that information, again, we shortlisted a target of 3 candidates to come in for an interview, response to questions and answers, and provide a fee proposal for the project. As part of that fee proposal request, we did issue a draft contract agreement. We worked hand in hand with Drew to draft. We obtained comments in a competitive setting from contractors, helping expedite this process, more favorable terms to the city and the contract we are presenting to you tonight. So this is a little more detail on the scoring criteria we outlined for the qualifications section. As you can see, these are the point totals tied to all of the information that was requested. Selection committee scored these candidates based on this criteria. When we shortlisted the top 3 candidates, we started with a new scoring criteria you can see on the right under shortlisted forms. For point totals associated with references and fee proposal, us as Archaic Group really provided guidance on how those should be scored based on us evaluating fee proposals and normalizing those to ensure fees were equal amongst the candidates. So after issuing the request for qualifications, we received 11 responses. That's a really good turnout for a project of this size. Just demonstrates you as the city of Evans are a desirable client to work for. And of those 11 responses, we shortlisted 3 firms. That was Adelson Peterson, FCI Constructors, and Franz and Pittman. And the result from the final selection phase of interviews and evaluating fee proposals was FCI Constructors in first place, Franz and Pittman in second place, and Adelson Peterson in third place. So why FCI emerged to the front? They have extensive experience with police stations in northern Colorado. We will highlight a few of those projects, but really unrivaled in terms of location and comparable size and function to the facility we are working on for the city of Evans. A really seasoned staff with their pre-construction manager, project manager, and superintendent, which we'll highlight. But they also had key team members who worked their career in the mechanical and electrical fields so that they are able to evaluate those systems in more detail, ensure a higher level of quality control, and help with long procurement of those items. And the last thing I wanted to hit on is they demonstrated a really strong connection to the subcontractor market here in the city of Evans. They actually came with letters of intent and reference letters from some of the local subcontractors that are qualified to work on this project that reside here in the city of Evans. So just a deep-seated connection with this project. They've also worked on projects here in Evans. One of note is the library project that Brian was involved with. So again, these the 3 individuals we have highlighted here really make up the key team members that we'll be working with throughout the course of this project. On the top, Steve Rademacher, he is a pre-construction manager, so he will be working hand in hand with our team and the design team, D2C, throughout the course of the design phase to come up with cost estimates to ensure we are designing to our target budget, come up with value engineering options, ways that we can achieve the same function at a cheaper cost. And then 3, make sure we're achieving our schedule by ordering long lead material items on time. Tom Boucher, he's a senior project manager with roughly 26 years of experience in the construction industry. Before that, he actually studied law enforcement. He will be our point of contact throughout the entirety of the project, from the start of design all the way through the closeout. And then Scott Sannefeld, he recently worked on the Windsor Police Station. He'll be the project superintendent and responsible for all on-site activities related to construction. Again, the 3, only a few of the relevant projects, but Windsor Police Station, which opened up just last year, the Firestone Police Station and Courts Building was an FCI project, and then a couple months ago, FCI just opened the North Glen City Hall facility. So next we want to talk about construction manager as general contractor or construction manager at risk contract format. So the contract right now is a lump sum fee only for FCI's assistance during the design process. As part of the fee proposal, we ask any cost throughout construction that will go directly to FCI, say hourly rates for their pre-construction manager or project manager, how much a trailer on site will cost, how much utilities to service that trailer will cost. Everything that will be incurred by FCI and not a subcontractor like an electrician or a mechanical contractor, we have those rates locked in for the duration of the project. So all those costs are captured in a competitive setting, and as we better understand the design, those costs will be applied throughout the project. So here's a rough breakout. We refer to GMP, that stands for Guaranteed Maximum Price. So as we're ready to secure price for the actual construction, we will issue a Guaranteed Maximum Price contract amendment to FCI. So we are only signing them up for about less than 1% of what we perceive as our total contract costs at this time. As we progress, we will look to contract the rest of those costs, which you can see as we're anticipating an initial approval of certain key trades, such as mechanical and electrical, and then the rest of those trades in the form of a final GMP. So again, at this point in time, we are only recommending contracting FCI for pre-construction services at a lump sum of $63,000. We anticipate their total contract to be roughly $24 million by the time of that final GMP, and their contract duration for 2.5 years. This is within our target budget for the project, and again, falls within the financing available for this project. What is available in the general fund, and then more importantly tied to the bond measure specifically for this project. Brian, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, yeah, thanks, John. Great job. So kind of a different approach of what we've done. So this will be similar on the financial steps moving forward for procurement, similar to what we did with D2C. So we are hiring FCI as our CMGC, and then they will procure the other trades moving forward. So with that, we think this rounds out the team with Artaic, D2C, and FCI to really provide us the necessary team to build something that this community will be proud of, as well as our police department. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. So I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in the process of going through, reviewing the contracts and doing the interview. One thing that I really liked about FCF that really stood out to me throughout this whole information presentation was the fact that they already have letter intents from using contractors or subcontractors that are actually here in Evans. So that's great. We're providing jobs to local residents here in the community and everything like that. I've seen their work that they've done. I know I've toured the Windsor Police Station with the chief and the commander and Cody as well. And that's before it was completely finished, and that place looked amazing. All the detail in there and everything and all the work that they put into was really great, really state of the art. So I'm definitely looking forward to approving this contract and taking that next step. So thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I had a comment.
You
And
did?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I promise.
No, you got a request.
I hit the record. You have to
There
hit
you
it
go.
again.
All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank you guys for breaking down who reviewed each of the proposals. For me, I like to know who's looking at this besides, me and a group of people. So it really helped seeing that there were all the different perspectives of, Cody, Commander Renew, and all of you that looked at that and broke that information down. So thank you for providing that. That's all.
Right. Councilmember Neal?
I'm very glad to see that we're moving forward
Turn
on
your
this
mic on.
project.
Turn your mic on.
I'm very glad to see that we're moving forward with this project, and I hope we can get it completed on time and under budget.
That's great. Thank you. Councilmember Delaney?
Okay, well, I can't go without talking about procurement, so great job. I really appreciate all of the transparency in both the staff filing and the presentation you just made. I really like to see it, and this is a great way to move forward with this project. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
All right, thank you. All right, if there are no additional questions or comments, I would entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to award the construction manager general contractor services contract for the new police station to FCI Constructors Incorporated and authorize the mayor to execute the contract. All right, that motion passes 7-0. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7E, consideration of contract for the Evans Junction Construction Manager. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Ty Boreski, Public Works and Utilities Director, here with Curtis Cunningham, Assistant to the City Manager. Curtis has been helping out with this project, just like with the general construction project for Evans Junction. So he's here helping us out and has helped us get through the RFP process and get this project up and going. So this is building off of the Evans Junction general construction project contract that was approved by council last week during the special session. As you know, and as we stressed in that presentation, we are very focused on making sure that we meet the very ambitious timeline of May 10th, 2025, to make sure that our commercial customers are ready to move in and start their work. We originally had some thoughts about trying to do some of the inspection services in-house. However, with the timeline and the ongoing capital projects, we kind of realized the engineering division lacked the manpower to be out at the project site for 40 plus hours a week. And knowing that this project needs to go right and we need everything to work well, it made sense to look outside the organization for a construction manager. So to address this need, we posted an RFP on December 6, 2024 on BidNet with a mandatory pre-proposal meeting on December 13th. And then we had a proposal submission deadline of January 6, 2025. We had received 4 companies submitting proposals, and we evaluated these proposals based on scope and project approach, company and project personnel, schedule, and fees. So I want to add that, so we received 4 different companies that put bids in. The highest score we received was from Roxol, which was not the low bid. The low bid was from GeoCal. So we have kind of 2 ways we evaluate our project. One, we focus on low bid, check references, and work our way down the list, trying to identify red flags to make sure we have qualified bids. On the other side, we'll do scoring, looking at all aspects of the project. In this case, Roxol scored the highest, and if we were looking through the lens of low bid, we would have had some red flags associated with the low bidder on this project. So I just want to highlight that that while Roxol is not the low bid, they were the most qualified, and we did identify some potential, some previous performance deficiencies with the low bidder on this project, which is how we ended up with recommending Roxol. So we're recommending to go forward with Roxol with a 10% project contingency. We originally didn't include a contingency in this project, and as we started thinking through the timeline and potential overtime associated with the project, we added a 10% contingency to be used with city manager approval as part of this, just in case there are some after hours and weekend work, especially as we get towards that May 10th date. So happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. So one of the questions, can you maybe just highlight a couple just for the record, for the audience that might be listening, what some of the deficiencies or concerns were with the low bidder that made you choose Roxol?
Yes, so the low bidder had some issues related to a lack of independence in the field. The goal is to minimize staff time for our engineers because we don't have a lot of capacity over there. With the low bidder, we ended up out in the field just as much as if we were the inspectors ourselves. We also kind of ran into some quality issues on the 37th Street widening project that they were in charge of, and are hoping to avoid similar issues with this project.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. All right, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I wanted to say that, thank you for not just going with the low bidder because they were the low bidder. I know we need to be careful when spending the taxpayers' money, but we also want the job done right. And that's something for me that's been on my mind through the years, is just because they're the lowest bidder doesn't mean they're always the best. And I'm not saying that we've had major problems in the past, but I just feel more confident with who is suggested to us when you look at those red flags or look at things that took more time. So thank you for doing the due diligence there and not just saying, this is the lowest, this is who we should go with. Thank you.
Councilmember Neal?
Yes, was Roxall the second lowest bidder?
They were.
Thank you. There is quite a difference but we definitely, as Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem said, we don't want to repeat of choosing a low bidder and having poor services.
Absolutely. There are times to provide second chance opportunities. This project with a sales agreement on the line is not one of them.
Absolutely. All right, great, thank you. All right, if there are no other additional questions or comments, I would entertain a motion. All right, so I have a motion and a second to award the Evans Junction Construction Manager contract to Roxall Consulting Group Incorporated in the amount of $131,951.66 with a $13,195.17 contingency to be used only with city manager approval for a not to exceed cost of $145,146.83. We'll go ahead and vote. All right, and that motion passes. Thank you, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7F, consideration of construction contract for the 2025 street sales tax major road project. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you. This is an exciting one. Ty Borowski, Public Works and Utilities Director, here with April Tamborelli, Civil Engineer and Project Manager. So today we're going to be discussing the contract award for the 2025 Major Roads Project. This is the culmination of a lot of discussions related to strategy associated with the 1% street sales tax program. And for a breakdown, this includes the mill and overlay of 23rd Avenue from 32nd Street to 37th Street, the full reconstruction of Prairie View Drive from 35th Avenue to 23rd Avenue, and a mill and overlay of 17th Avenue from 32nd Street to 37th Street. In total, we anticipate the project cost is just over $3.7 million, and we're requesting a 10% project contingency, bringing a not to exceed cost of just over $4.1 million. The city originally budgeted $5 million for these projects using funds generated by the 1% street sales tax. And so after this project, in theory, we would have just shy of $900,000 remaining for additional streets-related projects. So the city advertised this project on 12/18/24 via BidNet. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting on January 2nd, 25, and 13 contractors attended. We received 6 bids on January 10th, which was the deadline, and Martin Marietta was the low bid at $3.732, $0.36, and 30 cents. They were the low bidder, and we checked references, and I think we've worked with them in the past, and overwhelmingly positive, and we're really excited to get this work done and get this work done under what we were originally anticipating, which frees up some potential funds for some more projects. So happy to take questions. April's here as well, and if it's more technical.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. Questions or comments? Oh, I saw you do it. All right, Mayor Protem.
Okay, I just have a quick question on the concrete work with all the yellow dots. That's just sections we're gonna fix, right? We're not gonna take out all the concrete and then redo it all, just the little bitty sections.
Yes, and that will come to council on, I think, February 18th for the concrete replacement program. And then we have some concrete identified with these projects as well. So you may see a lot of concrete marked up right now. That's as we kind of get into project mode.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Councilmember Neal.
Very glad to see that we're using road tax to repair roads still in highly visible areas and well-traveled areas. It is an inconvenience to traveling public for us to do that, but it's more inconvenient, I think, sometimes to dodge potholes, so.
Absolutely, yes. Agree with that. All right, if there are no additional questions or comments, I would entertain a motion. All right. All right, I have a motion, a second, to award the major road construction project contract in the amount of $3,732,036.30 with a contingency of $373,263.70 to be used only with city manager approval to Martin Marietta for a not to exceed amount of $4,105,300. All those in favor, we'll go ahead and vote. All right, that motion passes. All right, thank you, appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 7G, consideration of construction contract for the 2024 ADA ramp replacement project. Turn it back over to staff.
Thank you. Ty Borowski, Public Works and Utilities Director, here with April Tamborelli, Civil Engineer and Project Manager. We're coming to council for the second time here on consideration for the 2024 ADA ramp replacement project, now with the replacements happening in 25. So I wasn't sure if we should just keep the subject the same, but I thought, yes, it's the 2024 project. That's when we got the grant funding and the additional money. So for a brief background, in November, City Council asked to push this award off so we could have some conversations with the low bid contractor that we recommended if they were willing to do the work outside of the kind of traditional winter conditions period. So it took some time to work with them. Burnt Mountain was originally the low bidder recommended for award. We needed to make sure that to ensure the integrity of the bid system, that their bid was going to remain the same. And for them to do that, they wanted to make sure that they had the availability and had the same material pricing for the project. After working through that, kind of moving past some of the contract deadlines, we had some kind of mutual renegotiation periods that existed in the contract. We wanted to make sure that we were fully okay to move forward with this bid that was greater than 60 days old, and everything proved that we could. So we're coming back to you to award this contract to Burnt Mountain with the notice to proceed in May 2025 at the same price for the same scope of the project. So this project was originally, for Councilmember Fair, some background, we originally received CDBG awarded funds in $181,000. We had a number of ADA ramps that we wanted to be replaced. When we got the bids, we found out that amount was insufficient. So the city engineer at the time went back to the county and said, hey, is there any additional funding available? And was able to get an additional $18,000. Which allowed us to do our originally submitted scope. So this project would have a just under 10% contingency to ensure that the entire not to exceed cost is the full value of what we receive from CDBG. So happy to take any questions. Really excited to get this one going.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, I don't see any, so I will entertain a motion.
Took me 3 screens to get to it. So.
All right, I have a motion and a second to award the 2024 ADA ramp replacement construction contract in the amount of $182,834.75 to Burnt Mountain Incorporated with a contingency of $16,265.25 to be used only with city manager approval for a not to exceed amount of $199,100. We'll go ahead and vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda, reports, city manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just a couple things for you. In your agenda packet, I do have my city manager report. That is the way I'm going to start pushing the city manager reports out to you unless there's something of critical importance I need to get out to you quicker. So going through that, we do have a new city website that is up and running. If you haven't taken a look, please go out there and take a look. evanscolorado.gov, so the web address is the same. It's just a new and spiffed up website. So it's really looking pretty nice. I want to thank Chris Bragg and Dan Carpiel for all the work that they put into that. And getting the new website up and running. Another thing, we have 37th Street Phase 2A. I do acknowledge that we have a bit of a hump there at Phase 1, Phase 2A. Within my staff report, or within my city manager report, I do have a note in there that mentions that the contractor will be out in the spring to work that hump out of that Phase 1, Phase 2A transition. That way we can get a more smooth roadway for the public. Coming off of the strategic retreat we had this past Saturday, and I want to thank the city council for the input that you provided staff coming out of that strategic retreat. But Mr. Mayor, I'm curious if you are ready for me to start working on the creation of an ad hoc committee to help guide these future decisions. You want me to hold off? Is there a specific time you want me to start working on this?
I'd like to go ahead and start putting the framework of that together.
Okay, all right, and I would assume just the application process that we've used with other committees.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, very good. I will get that going. Also want to thank Hector Rico for all of his work and his team's work. If you haven't been through the administrative side, Hector and his team have done a tremendous amount of work here over the past couple weeks, removing all the carpet, putting new carpet in, painting the walls. The administrative side of the ECC really looks nice. I know Hector and his team put in some pretty long nights and trying to get this work done here. So again, a big thank you to Hector for all of his team and to his team for all their hard work. And then lastly, we have a couple new team members that I want to acknowledge. We have Andy Vowell and Wyatt Yarmer. Andy is joining the finance team as our new contract and procurement specialist. So we've had those conversations about how that will improve our procurement here at the City of Evans, reducing waste and redundancy and going through and getting a more pronounced system in place for procurement. And then Wyatt is joining the police department as a police recruit. So it's exciting, always exciting when we can bring on new team members. Mr. Mayor, with that, I'll turn it over to council.
Great, thank you. And to our new city attorney.
Thank you. Thanks for approving my contract. I appreciate it. I appreciate my relationship that I have with each one of you and as the city council. It's an honor to represent the city. So thank you very much.
Wait a minute, we just approved a contract with you and that's all you got? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I was putting on my glasses so that I could read my notes. Have a moment, please. I do want to state that under 4.9 of the charter, the city council must approve any special counsel that the city retains for different types of work that the city has done for it legally. And I'd like to get some nods of approval to put this on the consent agenda, but one of them is Nathan Dumb and Mayor, which is Andy Nathan for employment law. Most of that is covered through CIRSA. Rarely does the city, in fact, there's no active matter where the city needs employment counsel that is not covered by SRSA. But because we've had a longstanding attorney-client relationship with them, and they've done excellent work for the city, I think we need to put them on to formally have an agreement approved by city council. Also, along those lines, Kim Crawford of Butler Snow, who does ballot initiative language, but also is advising on the financing of the police department currently. So this is happening now. We just need to have it approved by city council to comply with our charter. And then lastly, I texted our court clerk, Elizabeth Grant, to ask this because I tend to inflate my stats when it comes to the court. But I don't think I've ever missed court for any reason other than vacation or something planned. In fact, I'm certain that has never happened. Having said that, in the event that that happens, we need to retain a firm for backup just in case I'm not available. So that would be, I'm thinking of putting those 3 items on the consent agenda. And then I am looking at things to discuss with the city council at work sessions to help you do your work on city council. One thing I'm looking at, and I'm going to give these items and then open it up, or you can give me a call or send me an email if you have other things that you want to talk about or hear about from the city attorney, okay? I'm now talking about myself in the third person. Bob's rules, I covered that last year, but I think that would be a good thing just to go over so that city council members know what the rules are and how to use them. Another would be quasi-judicial hearings versus legislative action. That could probably be covered in one presentation. Another would be a question that has arisen this is a separate topic. What can I do to promote a ballot initiative after the resolution to place it on the ballot has been approved? Just for everyone's information, you don't surrender your First Amendment rights. You're able to campaign. You don't have to give up your title. You can write a letter to the editor. The key thing is not appropriating city funds. That's the main thing. There's like an incidental expenditure of $50 that, if you were driving a city car, which doesn't happen here. But so long as city funds are not being expended, you can campaign for a ballot initiative after it's been approved. You don't have to, allocate that or delegate that to somebody else, or you can, of course, get as much support as you can get. But I remember talking to someone who was on the board of St. Vrain, the school district there. There was a ballot initiative in this past election, and she said, I can't give you my opinion about whether you should vote for it or not because, it's been adopted. It's like, yes, you can, because you're legally allowed to give your opinion about a political issue, and you don't give that up because there's an initiative. And I think it would be good to do a work session on the city attorney, city council relationship. I think most of you have a good idea of what that is, but just in terms of confidentiality, how I might communicate if I send an email out to everyone, don't reply to all, that creates a meeting, but that's also confidential to the body, and it's not one member's right, so to speak, to forward that to somebody else and waive confidentiality. But if I send it, then it's protected under CORA if it's marked attorney-client privilege, or not if it's attorney-client information. And along that would go with discussing executive sessions and what you could expect from me in those, and we can talk more about it. And I'm open to other topics if you want to reach out to me. So that is my report for this evening, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. All right, next item, council discussion. So I want to bring up to council that I am planning to hold a town hall looking at Thursday, February 13th. So since now we've moved on past the holidays, we've done our strategic retreat, and then we're going to start focusing on mill levy. It's time to start up the quarterly, and I might actually do a little bit more often since we're looking for a mill levy adjustments. But looking at doing that probably at 6 p.m. More details to follow as we finalize that. So that's all I have. I know Councilmember Crabtree, you had something?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious if we could get an update on now that Hope Springs is open, there's a lot of traffic I've noticed coming onto 29th Ave and 32nd Street, and we just have 2 stop signs, and that's our area. And I know that you were talking with the city of Greeley to see how that would progress. I'd like to at least have an update of the situation. Also paving that area, the striping is still narrowing down to 1, even though the signage says different movements. There's a lot of traffic moving over there. And so I think it's time to be brought onto our radar.
It makes it so much easier to get to your brewery.
And dance.
I still think, cause I'm with you, I still think we need something between, 23rd and 29th, like stop signs, something, because that whole strip, drag racing, you know, I mean, pretty much. I walk that, 5 days a week. And
32nd?
yeah, on 32nd between 23rd and 29th.
got it.
Yeah, there's like no stop signs, no lights, just like, 47th, but they just go, and I'll watch them. They run the stop signs still.
Even that corner, right, like that.
Yeah,
Anchor, is it Anchor and 32nd or something?
29th Ave and
Yeah.
32nd Street,
Yeah.
we need a
Yeah.
roundabout. Oh, did I slip that out?
Is that funny? I thought the same thing.
Oh my God.
Sorry, you
Yes, okay.
next.
I just wanted for council discussion, great retreat. It was always great to be with everyone. Great presentation. I thought it was great. I love the visuals, everything. It was great, greatly executed. So I appreciate that. I also want to mention it was nice to see the outpouring of support for our superintendent of the year, Dr. Deidre Filch. So it's great to be there. I was there for momentarily, but it was nice to show the support, and mayor as well as our city manager, and Ryan was there too.
Yep.
Sorry if there was more there. That's not,
That's all I
that's
remember
all
seeing.
who I saw. But that is all I have.
All right, anybody else have anything?
I do,
I
I just
yield my
forgot,
time.
we had to request on the
All
thing.
right, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I was hoping to actually even have a video of this, but, my computer literacy is apparently not great. Yeah, I, wanted to thank the city manager and, Ty Boreski, and his entire staff. Monday, I showed up, driving to work on 394, which is split, responsibility between us and our neighbors. And, as I was leaving on Monday night, I decided to start a video because I knew exactly what was going to have happen. By 7 a.m., I had seen how good they had done, that I knew we were going to have dry streets. And as immediately as I got out of our area, it was going to be completely snow covered. It is still that way today. So thank you for hitting that hard. That is a place that doesn't get much love because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so I've seen it around all the rest of the city. You guys are doing a great job, and sorry you're having another weekend of snow, it looks like.
No, the snow plowing's been awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? All
Yep,
right.
I got a question for staff. Did we ever get a definitive response or find out how long concrete has to cure before it can be safely exposed to mag chloride?
Is that a council discussion question?
A full calendar year, basically. So there's a risk for basically one winter cycle regardless. You can, there's not much we can do about it. Luckily, we don't, did a little deep dive into that. We don't use a whole lot of de-icer on our sidewalks or ramps. Generally, we keep it on the road. Anything that gets on there will just be splashed. So, yeah.
Right. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, we'll go ahead and meeting adjourned. Thank you.